Hello everyone. Hello everyone and welcome. In this lecture we'll learn about timestamps. If you haven't imported NumPy and Pandas, please do so. So Pandas has a function known as timestamp, and we can use this function to create our own timestamp. Let's see an example. So we'll call the timestamp method pd.timestamp. Then we'll pass our date. Let's say December 7th, 2016. If we run this, it will create a default timestamp of 000000. So hour, minute, and second. So that's one way of creating a timestamp. We specify our date, and Pandas will add the timestamp information for you. Okay. Another thing we can do is call the timestamp method or function, and then pass our date and also specify a specific timestamp that you want. So we can say December 7th, 2016, and then for our timestamp we can say 4:15 and then 25 seconds. So if we run this, we have December 7th, 2016, and then the specific timestamp that we passed. Another thing we can do is pd.timestamp. We can use a different date format. Instead of saying December 7, 2016, we can simply say 2016, 12, and 7. For our timestamp, we can pass whatever time we want. Let's say 5:25, 45.12. So hour, minute, seconds, and then milliseconds. So we have 5:25, 45, and then our milliseconds. So this definition goes all the way up to the nanoseconds detail. Okay, so you can specify up to the nanoseconds level. Nanoseconds is 9 digits, so you can pass anything up to 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can do that, run it, so it will create that timestamp up to the nanosecond level for you. Okay, so that's the timestamp method. If you want, you can also specify the time as AM or PM. So instead of saying 5:25, you can say, let me copy this, paste it here. So instead of this, we can simply say 4:24 PM, run it. We have December 7th, 2016, and then 16:24:00, that's PM. And if you pass AM, you will have 4:24:00. And again, you can specify up to the nanosecond level. Let's say 4:24 AM, and for seconds, let's pass 29.34568, or anything that you like. So it will specify that specific timestamp for you. So this will be what, microsecond level, right? And you can also check the type of your timestamp object. Let's say we save this timestamp object in a variable called time, and by simply calling, so if you call time, it will specify your timestamp, and we can call the type function to check the type of this time object, and we'll see that it's a timestamp object. And a timestamp object has certain properties. For instance, it has a property known as quarter, day, days of the week, day of year, and so on. So let's see some of those properties. So what I will do is if I say time that and then hit tab, you'll see the properties of a timestamp object. So you have day, date, day of week, day of year, days in months, and so on. So we can call some of those properties. If I say time that day, it's day 7, right? December 7th. We can also call time that date. That's another property it has. It's a function date. And what are the other properties that we saw? There's one called day of week, I think. Run it. So it's the second week. December 7th is the second week. Time that, let's see some other methods that we can call. You have day of year, days in months, and you have some Boolean results for this. Is month end, is month start, is quarter end, is quarter start. So you can call some of those functions. For instance, if I call is month start, what do you think I'll get? False, because December 7th is not the start of the month. So those are some of the properties of a timestamp object. By calling those methods or functions on your timestamp object, you can get information regarding day, quarter, day of the year, and so on. Next, let's look at the time delta class. So Panda has a time delta class, and we can call a function known as time delta, and this time delta function recognizes ranges. So if you want to deal with range, we can use this time delta function. Let's see an example. For instance, pd.time delta, that's the method, pd.time delta, and then we can pass the range that we want. For instance, we can say 2 days and run it. So here you have your range, 2 days, and then 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Similarly, you can add time or a timestamp to your time delta object. So you can say 2 days and 5 hours. Say 500. Oh, I forgot the seconds here. 500, let's say 30 seconds. Run it. You have your time delta object with 2 days and then 5 hours and 30 seconds. So this time delta function recognizes range. So whatever range you pass, it will be recognized. And so what's the purpose of using this time delta? One way we can use this time delta is that we can add it to our timestamp. So if we have a timestamp, we can add this time deltas to our timestamps. Let's see an example. So let's create a timestamp by calling the timestamp method. So pd.timestamp, and let's pass a certain date, say 2016 12/23. So this is our timestamp object. Then we can add a time delta to it. So we can say pd.time delta, and then we can pass whatever time delta that we want. Let's say 2 days. 2 days, right? That's one example. So if we run this, we have timestamp 2016 12/25 0000, right? So by default, we have seen this, that if we don't pass any specific time for our timestamp method, it will make the timestamp to its default value, which is 0000. So if I run this, we have 2016 12/23 0000, and then when you add 2 days to our timestamp, you have 2016 12/25, right? Exactly 2 days. Let's see some more examples. So here let's specify a specific time stamp. For instance, let's say 3/23/24, and for our time delta, let's pass 1 day. What do you think we'll get? So if we run this, we have exactly 12/24, 3/23 and 24 seconds. What if I pass hours in here? So let's say instead of 1 day, let's pass 3 hours. So we can say 3 hours. If we run this, we have so 12/23, and then our timestamp was 3/23 and 24 seconds plus 3 hours makes it 6/23 and 24, right? Okay, you can also pass half hours instead of 3 hours. You can pass, let's say, 4.5 hours. So to see the calculation, we can make this 0, 0, and then let's make this 3/25. So the result when we run this will be 7:55. So 3 hours plus 4, that's 7 hours, and we have 25 minutes, and half an hour is 30 minutes. 25 plus 30, we have 55 minutes. So you can use a combination of hours or days or minutes for your time delta function. Let's see one more example. So I'll copy that, paste it here, and let's add, instead of 4.5 hours, let's add 3 days and 3 minutes. Okay, we can do that. Run it. Now we have, so we started at 3/25, right? And then when you add 3 days, so here basically you have from, it was December 23rd plus 3 days, we have December 26th. And then we also added 3 minutes. So when you add 3 minutes here, instead of 3/25, we have 3/28. So those are different combinations that you can pass for your time delta function. And here you can also add hours if you want. Let's say 3 hours. So that will make it, instead of 3/25, it will be 6/28. So the result will be 6/28. Let's run it again. So we have 6/28. Yeah, so this is how we can use the time delta method to pass a range to a given timestamp. Great.